Man, I just recorded a clip where one of these cows, the two that I had left leashed together, one of them seemed to be leashed to the air, where like the lead was just attached to a floating point in the air, and then the cow could walk so far away from it. It was just like a stretched out lead from this end to the other end of the cow pasture. But then after recording the clip, I realized for some reason the mic wasn't working, wasn't picking up, so that clip has no audio, but I can show some of it over this. It was really weird. But then I went back to my bed up there to sleep, came back, and the visual glitch, which I think it was just visual, seems to have fixed itself, and these two cows are properly attached together still. Very interesting. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Minecraft episode. My name is Tizon, and last episode we made this wheat field, which I am still very pleased with, especially the trees. But today I want to build, as I mentioned last episode, my windmill to cover up this auto wheat farm that I have here in the middle of the field. So I'm going to try to walk you guys through some of the design, some of the process as I go through it. See how you guys like that. I'm not going to walk through every step, but at least the start of it, and I think I'm going to do that in creative mode. Alright, I have loaded up a creative mode copy of my world, that way I could just test things out, but in my world. I'm going to use creative mode just for a little bit of my build, just to figure some things out. One thing that creative mode is a lot easier for is picking out your color palette, which this is basically what I want to go with for my windmill. I have in mind different elements, different parts of the build for each of these colors. It'll make sense as it goes up. But I have this will kind of be the base of the windmill, all these stones. I want it to look kind of rough, old, and just very weathered, this stone base of the windmill. This will be the main part, the wood. You gotta have the spruce. I realized I basically used spruce in every build I've done so far. And then mangrove for the top of it, and then white will just be for some details, the highlights around windows, and for the windmill, what do you call them, blades, fans themselves. So that is the color palette I have in mind. It's very easy to pick that out in creative. And I am just going to spend a little bit of time maybe just working with the shape, maybe one wall, kind of getting the colors in, just to see how it looks because I have this in mind. I don't know how it'll look yet. I just want to make sure it looks okay, the start of it, before I continue to build it in survival. So I'm going to start the process a little bit in creative here, but then we'll switch to survival to finish it. I'm not going to build the whole thing here right now, and then I'm not going to use Lightmatica for it. So right now I'm just going to start placing blocks. Alright, I have finished shaping the base of the windmill. So this is kind of the foundation layer. The windmill will sit on top here, and I'll build it up here. But I just got the basic shape I wanted, and an idea of how I want to detail the bottom. Kind of this rough stone weathered look is kind of what I'm going for there. And just an idea of where I want to put my blocks, like these supports, and then what I want this platform to look like. So I would say as far as the bottom portion, I'm happy with it, and I would do the rest in survival, the rest of the detailing, and obviously filling out the rest. So now it's time to shape and figure out what I'm going to do with the actual windmill structure. So I'm going to start trying to figure that out. Alright, I've kind of shaped how I want the windmill building to look. I think looking at the scale of it, I didn't want it to look higher than this mountain. I think that's a good height, where as you come here it's still very plainly visible. Right now it kind of looks like it has a nose here, which this is basically where the windmill blade would attach out the front, and it would spin around here. So that's the goal. Now I have a shape I'm generally happy with. I'm gonna try and see if I can work out some of the details and shapes with the actual blocks and the coloring on this front side of the windmill. If I'm happy with that, then I'm happy to start working on this in survival. So we'll start that now. So I've been doing the coloring in, and obviously smoothing out the shape now that I can use spruce. it's not just so blocky like this, and then on the top as well. So I think I have a general shape and coloring that I'm okay with. There's definitely some tweaking and stuff that I will do as I build it in survival, and obviously adding in all of the extra details, which I may come back here to test. But I think to start off with, I'm pleased enough with this in general to be moving on to the next stage of actually gathering resources and starting to construct it. But I will make some changes. I have also gathered the resources that I need based on that work I did in creative mode. I think I'll just go through and build it, time-lapse it, and then at the end I'll explain the rest of the details. So we'll jump right into that now. We'll start off the episode with some building. So, when you have a vision in your head of how you want something to turn out, then when you actually execute it, it doesn't quite turn out, but I think it still looks good. It's just maybe not fully as I envisioned it, or quite fully done. I feel like it's missing something. I don't know how to explain it. For me, I think it's mainly that it's just the spruce part is just so one color. But I've been trying to figure out different ways to maybe make the wood look a little more weathered, or I've been trying to research how in real life wood tends to weather, and it tends to go to a more gray, which is kind of a problem for this, because if I want to add some weathering in there, there's no gray wood that you could use, and I kind of need to, because I used a lot of detail blocks in here to create that gradual slope up, like trapdoors, shelves, and stuff, so it kind of needs to be a wood if I'm going to detail with it. I can't just use full blocks for this one. I am overall fairly pleased with it. For me, I always associate windmills with tulips, so I created this whole tulip garden around the windmill. I think it looks really nice, and overall I'm very pleased with it. I like the mangrove and pale oak together, and the shelves are so nice on every part of this build. The shelves here and then the trapdoors makes it this part slightly thicker than the, I don't know what you would call it, but that part of the windmill. And I like barrels here. They blend in with the spruce and create those black lines where the buttons kind of go in between. Yeah, overall, shelves are just so good. Even creating this little border here, this little bit of depth from this layer to that layer, all up. It's really nice. I did have to reroute that path a little bit to make room for the windmill. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of it, if you guys have any suggestions or improvements or thoughts on this. The reason all these spruce trees are here is just I needed some more wood as I went along. These are not permanent. I'm going to take those all down. Last episode, someone had a suggestion for my wheat field, and that was to put some of this short dry grass around the edges of the path to make it look like the wheat is a little overgrown or growing out into the path. I believe this is what they meant. Something like that, just so that it's overgrowing just slightly. So I'm going to try that a little bit. There's some of it. I think it adds a little bit to the path, just here and there. I think in the corners it works best to make it look a little overgrown. And then I know I mentioned last episode some of my recording issues and frame rate issues. Again, I was recording in 30 frames per second, which I think may have been a mistake. I think I fixed some of my stuttering with OBS that was caused by OBS, and now I am recording in 60 FPS. If you guys could let me know if this video looks better, please. I hope it does, because otherwise I don't know what to do. Another problem I found out is that, yes, I was recording in 30 FPS, but somehow in DaVinci Resolve, my timeline frame rate that I was exporting out of was 24 frames per second. I don't know how I missed that. That is a huge issue. I sincerely apologize, and I hope this one is better. And something else that someone mentioned is that last episode I got in Swift Sneak from the Deep Dark and I was trying to put it on boots. Someone told me in the comments that it's for leggings. I'm sure I knew that at some point, but that is what happens when you've been playing a game for 15 years and there's new stuff and then you forget about the new stuff. Okay, yeah, it does work. I'll need a few more levels though. Time to trade with some villagers for those levels. Oh, that was very quick. And there we go. It goes on the legs. I can't believe I didn't think about that. Now we can swiftly sneak around. So thank you all so much for all of the feedback that I've been getting recently. Some of those things have legitimately helped me. And even someone noted that in the intro to the last episode it was only on the left side, it wasn't stereo. But that's because I exported from Flashback Mod the audio. And I guess I did some setting wrong and it was only like the one side. I don't know how that happens. And also, thank you so much for 600 subscribers as of the time I'm recording this right now, and almost 10,000 views on my video for my iron farm. So thank you for everyone who's watched and supported, even through all of my technical issues and recording problems and frame rate issues. Thank you so much for all the feedback and all the help, honestly, with some of your feedback. It's been very helpful. But for the rest of today's episode, there's one thing that I want to kind of experiment with for mostly a future project. It's not something I'm going to fully do today, but I want to walk you guys through some of the concepts or ideas I have for this project. And that will probably be in a creative test world, just to best show off my ideas for this. So let's hop over there. So I'm over here in just a flat creative test world. So my idea is for that forest behind the wheat field. I want to transform it into kind of a fall-looking forest. That's something I've always wanted to do in Minecraft. And I've seen people make some fall trees. I think only a couple. I don't think I've ever really seen much. But what I've seen them do is mix like solid blocks for the leaves, which for me, I want some transparency with the leaves. So I have a few ideas here. Let me explain. So we could just do pure stained glass for the leaves. That would be super transparent. I'm not sure if that would look the best, but we can try. Again, I'm going to experiment with all these different techniques and see what I like best and see what we're going to go with. The next method I've thought of is to use mangrove roots. Rather than regular leaves, which are all very green, mangrove roots is more so brownish. And if we covered it up with glass like this, so did a mix of glass and mangrove roots, you could still get that leaf texture-ish, I think. But if you cover it with glass, you get the red tint over it. I'm not sure how that will look once it's on a tree, but that is something I want to try. The other method I've seen is using solid blocks like all these red ones and maybe mixing it in with some glass. I'm not sure what will look best. And this I would mix in with some glass panes, kind of smooth it out. I'm first going to build a tree trunk and branch structure here in the creative test world that I'm happy with. Then I will copy and paste it, and we'll try just each of these different leaf techniques to make colored leaves and see which one I like best. And then you guys can let me know which you like best. And then this would be quite a process of designing a lot of different trees, because I'm not just going to do one color. I'm going to have red, orange, yellow, even some green, and like evergreen trees that would be mixed into a forest like this. But this is the start of the process. And I may build one or two of these in the survival world today if I come up with something I like. So I'm going to hop into building a tree trunk and some branches, and then I'll show you guys when I have something that I think is workable. I think I've created a branch structure for this tree that I'm happy with for now. One thing I try to do with the trees is look from above if it's roughly circular, this area maybe could use another branch. I think it will look fine, even if it's not perfectly circular from above. Probably first add where I would want the leaves to be, then copy and paste this, and then just replace this with the different blocks I want. So I'm going to start working on that. Alright, I've done this one tree with just glass as the leaves. I decided to go for orange for these trees instead of the red that I was going for here. I think it looks okay with just glass, but let me know what you guys think. But I'm gonna copy and paste this tree a couple more times and then try a couple other methods for the leaves, but basically keeping the same shape. So when you see these other two, you will immediately be able to tell which one is my favorite because I went all out on the detail, but I will show you guys anyway. So this is the original one we did with just the glass. This is what I tried with the mangrove roots and then covered with glass. The thing with this one is it makes it extra bulky. You can't get as much air gaps in between because you have to do the mangrove roots and then the glass, and then it turns out pretty brown. So I'm not as pleased with this. And then this is what I tried with mixing in some solid blocks, some, I believe, orange terracotta and orange wool, which I just I kept the same leaf structure and then just replaced some of the bottoms of the branches with the solid blocks and then kept the top with regular glass. And then I used a lot of glass paints to kind of cover up the solid blocks and make them blend in more with the glass. And as you can tell, here's where I went all out on the detail with the glass panes is like falling leaves. Even made the root system and what it would look like if you had a bunch of fallen leaves on the ground. I think I really like this. With the orange wool carpet mixed to the orange terracotta, you get that look. I really like that. Let me know what you guys think, but for me, this is definitely my favorite. It gives me that fall tree vibe, which is really what I'm looking for. And imagine if we have a whole forest of this kind of tree with this style. A whole fall forest, walking through that. I love the fall weather, fall trees. Growing up, we used to go on color drives where we would just go through the forest, see all the fall colors. Where I live now, we don't really get that. So where I grew up in Canada, we got all kinds of fall colors. So I am really looking forward to recreating something of that in Minecraft. But for today, I think I'll just build maybe one tree as kind of a backdrop for the windmill. I think I'm gonna build this orange tree and we'll see how that goes. And then for another day, we will start on the forest. But before that can happen, I will have to design a lot more trees than just this. I need a lot of variety. So that will be a project in the making. Let's hop back into survival. I love it. I love it so much. I want another tree. I have definitely found a new love for making trees, because between all the ones I've been making the last few episodes, I am having so much fun and they add so much. These two trees here, let me know what you guys think, but I think they are gorgeous and really get the idea across of those fall trees, those fall colors. On both trees, I did the glass panes to represent the falling leaves because we don't have the falling leaf particles because these are not leaves. And I really like the way I did the leaf cover for both of these. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any suggestions for improving these tree designs or the way I did the leaves, please feel free to let me know. And if you guys have any tips for making a forest, that's something I've never done before. Again, my goal would be to convert this forest back here into kind of a fall themed forest, which after I put a river through here, I want to put a river right through this area and then have a nice bridge across there's the fall forest, which would have a mix of yellow, orange, red trees, and even some spruce trees, some green trees. So kind of a mix of even all of these different types of trees we have here in like a forest setting. I know I just reorganized this storage system a few episodes ago, but already I've gotten into the bad habit of just putting all my shulker boxes here with leftover materials from projects, because one thing I dislike in Minecraft, apart from digging large areas, is sorting stuff into chests. I don't enjoy it. So with how fast your inventory fills up in this game, to have to constantly put stuff away in the correct categories is very time consuming. So I've just been putting it out here in these shulker boxes, and eventually I'll put it away. So definitely this will be a project for another day to get these all sorted and put away. I know there's still some farms and technical projects we have to do in this world, get some farms up and running. We might do some more of that kind of work next episode, just because it'll make it easier to build. One thing I really want to set up is a gold farm and piglin bartering system just to get the gravel I need. That will help with coarse dirt and concrete and stuff for terraforming and such. And a moss farm. I really need that too. So there's some projects I need to handle just to be able to get things up and running in my world a little faster. But anyways, guys, it is time once again for the comment of the day. And this one says, this was on the last episode. New episode, yes! Also, day 3 asking for a Discord server for viewers. So yeah, I had not considered it until this comment, and I wanted to throw it out to you guys. What do you think? Would that be something in general that you guys are interested in? And if so, what would you use it for? I've personally never participated in anything like that, so I don't really know what it's about. So I'd appreciate all of your guys' feedback if that would be something you're interested in seeing, participating in, and it's definitely something I would have to research how to do. I've used Discord in the past, but not for probably a few years. But anyways, guys, that will do it for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys thought of these trees, this windmill, and then I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Bye!